All right. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Character Forge on Dungeons Divided. Here on the show, my name is Spencer, by the way. I will be your host. I try to present to you one or two builds that are thematic, viable, but most importantly, ones that are fun to play. These are builds that is something you can build a character arc around, something you can progress through the story as, and something you can really build a personality around. It's not just min-maxing to try to get the most damage, but they are extremely viable and very playable. This one today we're showing is actually a little bit broken. All these builds are available as a download, ready to go as a PDF character sheet from levels 1 through 20. Complete also with the character guide that I use, which shows level progression, variants on the build, everything else that I use while making the character. To gain access to this, just visit my Patreon right up here. This helps support the channel, helps me continue doing what I'm doing, and much appreciated for the support. Also, if you have any recommendations on the build that I'm doing, please comment during any time during the stream or on the YouTube channel later that's going to be posted. And if you want to see anything yourself, let me know as well. I read all the comments, and I really love hearing input on what you guys like to see, what everyone likes to build, and kind of just all that. So before any further ado, let us go right into it. Today, we are focusing on a class that is a monk fighter. I call this build the Falling Celestial Palm. It's kind of a play on words, like the Falling Buddha Palm from Kung Fu Hustle, which I love that movie. And also Celestial being that for this build, we're going Aasimar. So going right into it right away, let's just start with the build. Starting off race, we're going Aasimar. The reason why is because of Celestial Revelation at level 3. Level 3, you get to either choose Necrotic Shroud, Radiant Consumption, or Radiant Soul. And I'll go ahead and go to the D&D Beyond page so you can see what I'm talking about here. Necrotic Shroud is great for thematic play, although it's not the best option. This is going to be your sort of necrotic damage coming from like more of a demon rather than, or like a fallen angel or something like that, Aasimar. And thematically it fits with like a dark persona. But the best one you're actually going to want to go with is going to be Radiant Consumption for the build we're doing right now. This is whenever you activate it, you get to shine light, which is cool and all. But mostly, every turn you deal damage 10 feet around you as your proficiency bonus. And then whenever you attack with an attack, that deals additional damage to your proficiency bonus as well. As you can see right here, until the transformation ends, once on each of your turns, you can deal additional radiant damage to one target when you deal damage with a spell or attack, and equal to your proficiency bonus. That's the one we're going to want, and that is how we are starting off the build. We are starting off level 1 into Monk. Let's see here real quick. Making sure everything's playing right. Cool. Starting off level 1, we're going to Monk. We're starting off until we hit to level 3. It's kind of just, you're kind of just going along. Level 1, you're a monk, you're punching things and all that. You can start off with a weapon if you want. In this build, we're actually not focused on weapons. We're actually going to be using our fists, so we're going to be using tattoos. Everything we're going to be doing is going to be unarmed strikes. I'll show you why later. Monastic tradition, once we get to level 3, we are going to go the way of the Astral Self. The way of the Astral Self gives you arms of the Astral Self. Essentially, as a bonus action, you get to throw out these astral arms. I got some comments in chat. Hello. All right, Ariana. Nero Burn Gaming. Hello. I have my chat on my phone, but I have to like look all the way down on it to see it. Cool. So Astral Self, what does it do? Whenever you activate it, your arms, like sort of astral arms, fly out of your body. They have a 10-foot range instead of 5 feet, so you get a punch from farther away, which is awesome. And everyone around you has to make a dexterity saving throw, otherwise they take force damage. Pretty cool. From then on, all of your attacks now deal force damage instead of just regular, bludgeoning damage. Force damage is great because it's very, very rarely is it resisted, and it goes. It's a great damage type. It's really hard to really find a way to stop force damage over things like bludgeoning or piercing and all that. My little pog champ. Cool. So we have spectral arms. Now we get to punch things from farther away. We do force damage. Pretty darn cool. I like going for level 4 immediately because of the feat that we get. We also get slow fall, which is cool. Beginning at 4th level, you can use a reaction when you fall to reduce any falling damage you take equal to 5 times your monk level. It's cool. It's a cool option. Cool little monk things. But mostly we're going for the feat. The feat here that we're getting, very important. Level 1, we're going to go for A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's F, Fey Touched. We're going to go Fey Touched. We're going to go Wisdom because we are a Dex Wisdom-based character. And for the spell, we are going to choose Hex. Now, we get Misty Step, which is a phenomenal ability. It lets you just teleport out of grapples. It lets you close in gaps. Lets you do a lot of things. And you get to cast that for free. Super cool. But also we gain Hex. Hex is going to be our big damage boosty ability. And later on, this is going to be what accounts for a lot of our damage. So I think it's pretty important to get that early on. You get more burst damage, but you get a little bit less sustained damage going first level 4 here. I think it's still better for the overall build anyways. After that, we are going to go Fighter. All right. Before we go into Fighter, I'm going to kind of show the abilities that we're starting off with as well. The abilities we're starting off with, I do 8 Strength, dump stat, 15 Dexterity, 14 Constitution, 10 Intelligence, 15 Wisdom, 8 Charisma as another dump stat. Don't really need Charisma, don't really need Strength. You definitely don't need Strength because later on, with the Astral Self, you actually get to use your Wisdom as a Strength saving throw. Pretty awesome. So if anyone tries to grapple you or anything else, you can actually use your Wisdom to try and break any sort of Strength saving throws. Pretty cool. Cool. Now we're going to go back to the Fighter class. Once we hit level 3 in the Fighter class, well, first of all, level 1 in the Fighter class, we already get a nice little boost to our damage. We get to go Unarmed Fighting. Unarmed Fighting turns all of your unarmed strikes into a 1d6 plus your Strength modifier, but since you're a monk, it actually is your Dex modifier instead. So your punches are already hitting for 1d6, and you already get to hit, several times. Damage is getting up there a little bit. So far, you're not really astounding for, in any sort of way. We have Action Surge, which allows you to gain additional actions, which lets you attack again. So you get a little bit there as well. Joshua Story. Hello, Joshua. Are Katars considered... Katars? I don't know if Katars are... I don't know if... That's a good question. You probably could use any sort of fist weapon. The whole point of going this fighting style is we are going unarmed fighting. So unarmed fighting is considered... You are unarmed, so you do not have weapons. Tattoos are not considered weapons, but you do get that. You still do get that +1 to damage, +1 to hit, and you still do get those awesome abilities you can get from some magical tattoos later. So tattoos definitely work. It's up to you and your DM if you want to talk about using any sort of weapons as an unarmed weapon, sort of fist weapons or whatever. Totally up to you. Once again, we're not really hitting with those fists. We're hitting with our astral arms. So the tattoos, I think, are the way to go. If you don't know much about tattoos, you can find a bunch of information online talking about what tattoos are, how many you can get. You can get them all over your body, head, arms, whatever. You have to attune to them if they're magical, just like any other item. So you can really only have 3 magical tattoos at a time, but they are extremely powerful. All right, level 3, martial archetype. We are going to go with Rune Knight. So this is where I think Rune Knight is a very flexible fighter build, and I think it goes extremely well with Monk because it's not based upon using weapons. It's based upon carving runes into things on your body, such as, I kind of like the idea of having like those little Muay Thai sort of bands around the arm or some headband or whatever else you want, a belt. You're carving runes into these things on your body, or even your body itself if you want to carve some runes into it. And these runes allow you to use additional abilities. And the cool thing about these abilities is they don't really take up like a bonus action. For instance, Fire Rune, which I think Fire Rune and Cloud Rune, by the way, are the 2 best ones to start off with. Team Blackout Drunk. Hello, Team Blackout Drunk. Cool. Fire Rune is amazing. Whenever you punch, whenever you hit, you don't have to roll again. They don't get to resist it. You just automatically do an additional 2d6 fire damage. Then they have to try and resist that with a strength saving throw. If they don't, they are restrained, which gives you advantage on all the rest of your attacks against them. And every single turn, they have to try and break this again. Otherwise, they are unable to move, and they take 2d6 more fire damage every single turn. Pretty awesome. I believe it's 2. It's not just 1 at the end, right? Is it? Yeah, 2d6 fire damage each turn. It adds up pretty quick, and it really lets you have an advantage just kind of pummeling someone to death. Not only that, we're 10 feet away punching. They can't even punch back. Pretty awesome. Cloud Rune is a great defensive. Basically, it lets you redirect an attack, either something against you or an ally, and you can kind of redirect that attack towards another enemy or a tank that can block it or something like that. It's more of a defensive. Mostly the Fire Rune is what we're going for here, and it's such a powerful ability. We also get Giant's Might. This actually goes along with our build pretty darn well. You have learned how to imbue yourself with a Giant's Might. As a bonus action, you magically gain the following benefits to last for 1 minute. You can tell already that this build is very bonus action heavy. That's the one problem with it. You can use bonus actions before a fight. You can just put all these buffs on before the fight starts and hope that the fight starts and finishes within a minute before the buffs run out. Or you can activate them in combat, but they are going to take a bonus action, which you only get 1 every turn, and those are also going to take up your offhand unarmed attacks as well. So I prefer to try and buff up if you know if a fight's going to happen. Giant's Might basically just lets you have advantage on strength saving throws. Pretty cool. And we can also use our wisdom modifier for that. And once on each of your turns, one of your attacks with a weapon or an unarmed strike can deal an additional 1d6 damage on a hit. It's almost like a sneak attack, but you just get it with your unarmed attacks. You just get it every turn while this is active. Pretty cool. 1 extra d6 of damage, good to go. From this point, I like to just continue pumping Rune Knight. I like to go Rune Knights up until about 12 or so. I think it's really where it becomes questionable whether or not you want to spend any more points into Rune Knight. This plays like a monk, but you're building heavy fighter in the beginning. So, what do we get later on? We get Rune Carver. You get additional runes at level 7 and 10. The other runes aren't really that useful. Stone Rune's cool. You get 120 feet of dark vision passively. And the activatables on them are just, once again, it's kind of just up to flavor. Whatever you want. Hill Rune is also pretty good. Just choose whatever you want here. Not a huge difference. The first 2 are just by far the best runes in my opinion. I so miss prestige classes. You could add some intense additions to your builds. Oh my gosh, I need my glasses to read my phone. It's not the best way. From Joshua's story. Yeah, prestige classes were pretty cool. Although I love multi-classing, just kind of building 2 or 3 different classes at a time and just really making your own. Putting 3 classes together is a lot of fun, and it can get a little bit crazy with 3 classes, but 2 classes usually gives you enough freedom to be able to have a lot of cool stuff going on. Level 4, we get another feat / ability score improvement. My other favorite feat to get would be Tavern Brawler or Sentinel. I think the better one to get initially is going to be Tavern Brawler. The reason why, you don't get a bunch from it. Tavern Brawler makes it so your unarmed attacks uses a d4 for damage. That doesn't help us. We're proficient with improvised weapons. Doesn't help us. Increases strength or constitution. That's cool. We'll take a constitution take off of that. But the best thing is, when you hit a creature with an unarmed strike, which is all of our strikes, you can use a bonus action to attempt to grapple the target. Now, the really cool thing here, when you're grappling a target, your arms are technically 10 feet long. You are technically grappling a target that is unable to swing back at you unless it has a 10-foot weapon or spells or anything. Now this opponent cannot move. You have advantage on everything. It has disadvantage on basically everything. And you are just sitting there, one hand's just holding it and the other hand's just pummeling it to death, basically. Pretty cool. Your DM might hate you for it, but it's definitely going to be a fun thing to play around with. We also get extra attack on 5th level. So now we are attacking twice, and then we're using our bonus action to either activate an ability or use an offhand attack. With Hex, those are all dealing additional 1d6 damage. With Giant Smite, that's another 1d6 of damage. Plus your whole Radiant ability, that's another proficiency bonus of damage from punching and damage at the end of your turn. As you can see, it's a lot of numbers that are all stacking up little by little, and every time you deal damage to someone, you get 1d6 extra Hex damage. So you're basically doing double the d6 in damage. The whole point is to swing as many times as you can, hit as many times as you can, and just ramp up that damage. Each turn, you're progressively doing more and more damage. After extra attack, we get another ability score improvement. My other favorite feat to go in this build would be Sentinel. Sentinel is more of a tanking feat, but what it allows you to do is whenever any enemy enters your reach, you are allowed to make an opportunity attack against it, and when you do, that opponent is stopped and cannot move. Since your range is 10 feet, once someone comes into 10 feet, you can punch them in the face, and then they have to stop moving. They can't even get to you. So it's a defensive, but it's also an offensive ability. We're not going to be using a lot of reactions. So having your reaction to just be able to stop someone from moving, either stopping them from escaping or stopping them to get to you, is pretty cool. And also, you can use it to protect your allies within 5 feet of you. That might not happen very often, but it's a good little option. Another very annoying feat for this build. So now we have an option to punch people to stop them getting from us, grabbing them to stop them from getting away, or punch them to stop from getting away. They're a little bit redundant, so you can skip one or the other if you wanted to. It's just kind of fun to have both. Let's see, 7th level, we get Rune Shield. Rune Shield is a fantastic ability. You learn to invoke your rune magic to protect your allies. When another creature you can see within 60 feet of you is hit by an attack roll, you can use a reaction to force the attacker to reroll the d20 and use the new roll. It's kind of like Silvery Barbs. It doesn't give you advantage, but all you have to do is use your reaction and you can give someone disadvantage. Pretty cool. More of a support ability. Doesn't necessarily do more damage, but it's just a nice tech ability. Another ability score improvement. As far as feats go, I think we're pretty much done. Now it's time to kind of just bump your dexterity. So 2 points in dexterity. We get, we got Emo Date. My DM probably would. Emo Date watching a chat. That's one of my players from my campaign, by the way. He said that I would probably hate it if he went this build, and yes, I probably would hate it. I would find ways around it, though. Don't worry, Emo Date. I'd get you. All right. Indomitable at level 9. Works very well with our build as well. Being at 9th level, you can re-roll a saving throw that you fail. If you do so, you must use the new roll, and you can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest. You can use this feature twice between long rests at level 13, and yada, yada, yada. It's just a good way to stop. The biggest shutdowns for this character is going to be, basically, you don't have any sort of resistances to sort of crowd control effects, ways to stop you. CC and whatnot. There's, you can be charmed, you can be feared, all this kind of stuff. Your stats are not the highest when it comes to this. You do a lot of damage, but it's not super hard to shut down. It's a bit squishy, and tends to kind of fail at saving throws. You need 3 turns to really ramp up that damage, and it's entirely AC based as a melee. So if an enemy has a really high AC, those are all weaknesses of this character. The strengths, of course, are it outranges most melee, does good consistent damage, and extremely high burst after all of the buffs have been applied. Couple this with a potion of Cat's Grace or Giant's... Yeah, oh, absolutely. If you couple this build with anything like any sort of potions or anything outside of the weapons or things you're using, like I said, tattoos as well. You can have 3 tattoos, like Eldritch Tattoo and everything else. Once you start stacking all these things on top, oh my gosh, you just start ripping things apart. I mean, just as the base at level... I don't know what it was. I think I did the test at level maybe 16 or 17. I was hitting a creature for about 160 damage in one turn. 160 damage in one turn I did. And that's without any sort of like legendary items or anything. These are just like mostly uncommon or magical or something items that I'm using. Pretty awesome. After that, we get Great Stature. The one thing I don't like about this build is that Rune Knights grow in size as you get more levels. It's fine. I just don't like I don't like the idea of a monk just getting huge as he's leveling up. If you want, if that's an issue with you, you could talk to your DM about like, hey, I get stronger, but I don't necessarily need to get bigger. The rulebook states that once you hit level 10, you roll 3d4s and you grow a number of inches equal to that height. I don't think it's necessary for role-playing sake, but if the DM makes you, whatever, you're going to grow after you get level 10 in Rune Knight. It just happens. If he wants it to happen, you can, whatever, like I said. Moreover, the extra damage you deal with your Giant Smite feature is now increased to 1d8. Now we're getting a 1d8 instead of 1d6. Cool. It's a decent improvement. Nothing to cry about. Level 11, we get another extra attack. As you can see, that's the last extra attack we get until level 20, but we're not going level 20. We don't need that last extra attack. At this point, with an action surge and spending 1 key point, we are attacking 6 times in 1 round. That is going to be 6d6s plus 1d8 plus another 6d6s plus Eldritch Tattoo of another 6d6s. You hope you have enough dice at this table to just keep rolling, because you are just stacking on damage on top of damage on top of damage. And then, of course, we get another ability score improvement at level 12. There was a couple different ways I could do this build. You're not really key starved with this build. You don't really need those key points to be spending in things like Fury of Blows or Stunning Strikes, because Most of our damage and most of what we're doing just comes from spending 1 key point to gain these astral arms, which last the entire fight. You're spending 1 key point to make everything ranged, doing force damage, and all the rest of your damage is coming from extra attacks, hexes, and just, you know, giant smite, your radiant damage from being in your Aasimar form, and everything else. Like I said, it's just a bunch of little damage that all just stacks up over time. And then the last one, ability score improvement, we're going to go for just kind of trying to max out our dexterity. Now we have max dex, and then we can put another point into, you can go wisdom or constitution. I don't think it matters too much. I think with the build, let me see, what is our ability score at now? Yeah, if you go wisdom, you cap out at 18 wisdom, pretty good. Constitution, you would get one extra point of constitution. We're kind of tanky enough. I don't think the tanking is really going to matter too much. It's not like a glass cannon necessarily. But the most important thing is getting that getting that 20 in dexterity, kind of maxing that up by the end, because you want those extra pluses to hit. Those are going to be your biggest weakness later in the game when things have a higher AC. And you want to make sure that it also gives you more damage and everything too. You're getting a +1 for every attack you're doing. Going dex for stats is pretty important, especially towards the end of the game. Let's see, we got another one. For the record, our DM is persuadable with a gift card for Indian food. Oh, persuadable, sorry. For Indian food or a bottle of Fireball. Nice. I'll be sure to remember that, because I like to be able to persuade our DM to be on my side for a gift card. All right. Let's see here. So let's go back to my little character guide. So we have Aasimar is the race. Weapons are going to be tattoos. We're going monk for 4 levels. And then after that, we're just leveling up fighter pretty much till 12. And I don't think I went back. After you hit 12, you want to max out the rest in monk. I find this to be the best for me. This is going max to level 20 if you get that far. Most campaigns don't get that far. The reason why is because after you're ending up in the end levels of fighter, you're not really getting a whole lot. You're getting Master of Runes. Pretty good. It's up to you whether or not you want to really get this one or not. Master of Runes is you can use each one of your rune carves twice. It's pretty good because Fire Rune and Cloud Rune are really powerful. Is it worth it? I don't know. You are getting more key points here. You're getting, sorry, not here in the monk. You are getting more key points. You are getting Stunning Strike if you want it. You're getting Key Empowered Strikes. We're doing force damage anyways, but so Key Empowered Strikes is not really useful. As you can see, it's a lot of useless stuff. I would say useless. It's not super useful on either of these trees after you get to level 12 and 4. That's like your peak. 4 monk, 12 fighter is your peak. My preferred build is just getting a couple extra key points, going 8 into it. You'll get evasion, stillness of mind, and you'll still get that last additional ability score increase. The other option you can see, which I'll just kind of go, is you go up to level 16 here, and you do get that Master of Runes ability at level 15. So you can use 2 of those fire runes. You get 2 more ability score improvements. That's pretty much all you're getting. 2 ability score improvements and runes. So I think that monk is a little bit better end game. I'll leave that up to you. Like I said, that's more min-maxing, so do it to your own preference and flavor. All right. So Fey Touched is our best feat to get. We want to get that early on. The reason you want to go Fey Touch is because it gives you that escape, it gives you that Misty Step, and allows you to use Hex. The Hex ability is going to be, you get to use it once for free, and if you don't know what Hex does, it's every time you hit an enemy with an attack, you get to basically do an additional 1d6 of damage. Let me see if I can just look it up real quick. Hex, there we go. You place a curse on a target creature that you can see within range. Until the spell ends, you deal an extra 1d6 of necrotic damage. Another good thing about this is it costs a bonus action, so you can still get all of your extra attacks in that same turn. You just want to start off hexing first with the bonus action, and then punch, 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 punch. Until the spell ends, you deal an extra 1d6 of necrotic damage to the target whenever you hit it with an attack. We are attacking 6 times in one turn. That is 66, plus Fire Rune, additional 2/6, plus Hex, an additional 66, plus Eldritch Touch 2, an additional 66. Like I said, these just keep adding up and adding up and adding up. You can remove curses on the target with some sort of dispel or curse removal. So the DM, of course, can incorporate that into characters, which will get rid of some of that burst, but you are pretty much guaranteed to have that burst for 1 turn at least. Misty Step, also a bonus action. Like I said, we are very bonus action starved in this build, considering everything that you have requires a bonus action to activate. And then we have Sentinel. Stops enemies from getting to you, stops them from getting away from you. Tavern Brawler, you get to grapple people and punch them. And then stats, of course. That's pretty much it, the build. It sounds easy, but it's actually a little bit complex to pull off because you have to know what you're doing at the start of every fight. For instance, you have, let's go to features. There's just a huge list of features. I hope I can show you here. So, fighting style, unarmed fighting, second wind, so you get that heal, action surge. By the way, if you level up fight more, you do get a second action surge, which is pretty nice. I believe I don't remember which level it is. Rune Knight, Rune Carver, Fire Rune. You get to use, actually wait, no, you do only get 1 action surge. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. Fire Rune, you get to use twice. Any sort of rune, Cloud Rune, Stone Rune, Heal Rune. Once again, Fire Rune is going to be your best. Giant's Might, oh, that's the one you get more uses of, my bad, sorry. So Giant's Might, you get a ton of uses later on. You get to use it 6 times by the end of the game. Bonus action, I would use that willy-nilly. You think the fight's about to start, Giant's Might. You get 6 uses by the end of the game, just use it. You think a fight's gonna start, just use it. You won't have to use it in combat, you save yourself that bonus action. You start off doing an extra 1d8 every time you get that first punch in. Extra attack, once again, we're attacking 4 times without using any key. Actually, we're attacking 5 times without using any key as a bonus action. Could you sacrifice a few levels to get level 3 in Sorcerer for Quickened? You could. There's actually ways to min-max this, like I said. You could also go Rogue 3 levels. Why not get 2 more d6 for an advantage? That's min-maxing, and I hate throwing Rogue into any build, but we're going to be getting advantage a lot in our attacks. So you also have a way to go Rogue. You can go 3 points into that, and you can get an Assassin or something where you can really be doing a lot of damage with those crits and everything. So really, if you want to min-max it, yes, I would actually probably drop the last maybe 3 or so levels in Fighter. You would lose ability score improvements, which is fine because you don't really need them past that point. And then you could put 3 points into maybe, like I said, Rogue, or you could go, something like Sorcerer or something. I think that going Rogue Assassin would be a fantastic build, or even, anything else, really Phantom or whatever else, but Assassin is going to be that big punchy damage for that first round. So yeah, like I said, min-maxing, you really want to get that extra damage. 3 points into, I would say, Rogue. Extra 2d6 damage, Assassin, you do all those crits and all that. Cool, going back to kind of talking about everything here. So yeah, after that first turn, you attack, use all of your abilities. You want to make sure you activate those arms. You can use them in combat for sure. It's definitely worth the bonus action because as a bonus action, it does 2d4 of force damage to everyone around you unless they save it at 18 dexterity. So it's free 2d4 as a damage. You can use that bonus action to activate those arms, and then now you are doing 10 feet worth of unarmed attacks with your aura and everything hitting at 10 feet. You don't need to be any closer than 10 feet with this build. Pretty cool, ranged melee. After that, you have, like I said, bonus actions. We have Spell, we have Hex, Celestial Revelation. That's what I'm talking about as far as your abilities. This one you only get to use once per long rest. It doesn't do a whole bunch of damage. Later in the game, you're getting a +6 bonus to initiative. So that's an additional 12 points of damage every turn. So it's pretty good. Beginning of the game, it's not doing a whole lot. You're doing like 2-4 points extra damage every turn. So it's okay. Flurry of Blows, we're not really using a whole lot unless you really want to max out that damage. Surprise is still a thing. Yeah, surprise is still a thing. Yeah, you can still get surprise attacks on people and everything else. So if you wanted to go assassin, like I said, and not only is surprise a thing, you're not really going to be in stealth, but if you go before someone in combat, you're getting those automatic crits, and you're getting that sneak attack damage, and you're getting those crits and everything else that turn against people. So it's a good first turn way to build a character as well. Or if you wanted to be cheeky, you could go scout. Whenever anyone comes within range of you, you can just go away 5 more feet and then still stay at 10 feet. There's a lot of cheeky ways you can build it if you want to go rogue. Yeah, so Giant Smite activating before the fight starts. Celestial Revelation, make sure you activate it on an important fight. Use your key points to activate the Astral Arms. And that's going to be basically your 3 main buffs. And then when you are ready to activate that burst, you use the bonus action at the beginning of your turn to Hex. then you punch, 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 punch. No, punch, punch, punch. Sorry, punch, punch, punch. Action surge, punch, punch, punch. And you get 3 attacks, or sorry, 3 attacks, then 3 attacks. So you're getting 6 attacks in a turn. My gosh, as you can see, the difficult part of this build is just keeping track of all the little damage you're dealing. It's good to have a list though, like just have a list on the side. This is what this is at this buff. This is what this is at this buff, because you are going to need that. Second wind is a good way to heal yourself. And then once again, Tavern Brawl and all that are just, you can use your bonus action to grapple a target, get advantage, if you want to have that sneak attack damage, all that kind of stuff. That's basically the build. It's not too hard to play, like I said. It does an incredible amount of damage late game. It's all AC based, so if there's a high armor target, it might be hard to hit this target, but this is a build that can do a bunch of damage at the end of the game. Your stats aren't really like all over the board or anything. You're basically just, you have, what do I have here? Acrobatics. That's about it. Dexterity is at +5, wisdom's at +4. Everything else is kind of low. Constitution, intellect, just, whatever, all that kind of stuff's low. But our whole purpose is to punch, and to punch a lot. I punch hard, I punch harder. That is the build. Thematically, I like to think of this as a sort of fallen angel build. That's why I call it the falling, that's why I call it the, what do they call it? The falling celestial palm. Because we are like a celestial kind of awesome creature. We are doing radiant damage, necrotic damage, force damage. We're not really, and we have this sort of astral form. We're not really, we're not really like a physical being. We're more of like a celestial astral being. So I thought that's a pretty cool theme to go with. And then, of course, if you want to go with that fallen angel vibe, you could go for a darker character, or you could go for a enlightened character if you want to do more, of that radiant path, and you want to try to maybe find your way back to grace or something. This theme works really well for the character. The runes and the tattoos all over you are really cool. They have that sort of Kung Fu Master vibe. And yeah, that's pretty much the build, like I said. So if you have any questions, or if you have any comments, or if you have any ways you want to build this build, or the way you'd finish it up, leave that in the comments down below on the YouTube. Also, feel free to check out the other builds on the channel here as well. Make sure to subscribe to our channel on Twitch here, Dungeons Divided. And also join our Discord. We have a link down in the Discord. We have a really active chat during our games. We have a lot of people chatting, interacting with each other, and it's a lot of fun. And we have a donate link down there as well if you want to help support the stream. It means a lot. Cool. Until then, well, have a good rest of your week, everybody, and keep building characters. Bye-bye.